Welcome back to the Python Codes YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be continuing a series which involves creating PDF outputs using Python and the FPDF library. And this particular tutorial, we're going to look at creating a pie chart and an accompanying table using Matplotlib also. And so first off, let's look at the expected output from our code. So this is the expected outputted PDF file that we're going to be looking at creating. And as is often the case, I'm going to use Google Colab to create this file. So yeah, here I am in my Jupyter notebook where I'm going to, I'm in Google Colab, and I'm going to look at creating a pie chart. So let's jump right into the code that I'm going to use to create the toy dataset. And as I often do in other videos in my channel, I'm going to use a dataset from the scikit-learn library. Specifically, I'm looking at California housing data. So first off, I'm going to use fetch California housing, and then I'm going to convert this into a pandas data frame. I'm using pandas.dataframe, and then I'm going to make use of the numpy.c_ method, which essentially concatenates the features and target of the sklearn data set into one numpy array, and then you can just use the pandas.dataframe method to create a pandas data frame. And it's a fairly standard way to do this, and it should work with just, I think, all of the scikit-learn toy data sets like Iris. I often use also the Boston housing data set and this California housing data set, and there's several others too. So I also have an accompanying video where I create a pie chart in Excel using the XLSX writer module. Totally different subject, but I use the same toy data set, and that video is linked in the description below. So you can see very similar code, at least for getting the data set. Because I'm also going to create what I often call bins for categories, so we can have percentages of the housing data, which would be the perfect sort of data set for sort of summary data set that you want for a pie chart. So I'm just going to class the number of rooms in each house in this data set into 5 different groups based on how many rooms they have. And then I'm going to output that data in the pie chart. And also you're going to have a table that accompanies it. So yeah, important to note here. I'm essentially doing conditions here, and I'm going to copy this for the next couple of lines. Just so I'm going to have 5 different conditions based on the groups I want, and important to put when you do the conditions using the .lock method in pandas, you want to, especially if you have multiple, you want to put parentheses around them, like I have not in the first one, and won't be the case in the last one as I type that one out. But if I have multiple and I'm using that ampersand, I'm going to want parentheses around each of the conditions. So yeah, this I know this is a bit of a lengthy way to get the toy data, but we want an ideal data set so we can really have a functional pie chart data set. And sometimes that takes a little bit longer. I also want to get it into pandas data frame. So I should also mention, if you're not familiar with the scikit-learn data sets, it comes up a lot in using them as toy data sets for machine learning problems. So knowing that the cow object I created in the first line of code up there has a description method that you can print out the description in the background, and this works for all the scikit-learn toy dataset libraries, so you can find out exactly what they are if you don't know. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how to do that. I'm going to actually comment it out, and I'm just, if you want to know more about what this data set looks like, I've also put a couple more print functions in here so you can see that. But I'm actually going to comment them out now. Just there, and all this code is linked in the description below if you want to explore it further. Because I haven't got to the main crux of this video, which is about creating a pie chart and accompanying table in a PDF. I've just been talking about sort of the data preparation so far. So, now I'm just coming to the end. I'm going to create my final data set, which is actually going to be called CowDF Bend. And so this is just going to have those 5 categories. That we're going to use in the the PDF output, and it should come out in the print function here, which I'll run now. So yeah, this is our final data set, which is what we're going to use for this example. So yeah, lengthy way to get an example data set, but useful. And I also have an accompanying video, again, as I mentioned earlier, where I do this similar thing in Excel with basically the same data set. I think exactly the same pandas data frame in the end. So yeah, that's linked in the description below. Also, I have a bar chart PDF video, which I've totally different data set that I've linked in the description below. So yeah, I'm going to use the Matplotlib library. I'm trying to make it as a simple and basic example with all the default settings as possible. I do have to set the size here just because the default size will be way bigger than we want. And so I've just made it 3 inches by 3 inches. Again, the cool thing about Jupyter Notebook, or as I'm using Google Colab, a Jupyter Notebook and Google Colab, you can see all your all the functions that you're using from a library, all the methods you're using, and really get a sense of what the different parameters for a function are. So that's useful. So you can look this stuff up as you go along. Even for a library like FPDF, less common library. Obviously, Matplotlib is very used, great documentation all over the place, great examples. But if you're using FPDF, it's helpful to have the sort of information that you get from the Jupyter Notebook, telling you what the different arguments are and so on. So yeah, I'm basically at the end of my creating my .png file. So sort of 5 lines, not too hard to create a basic pie chart. Again, I'm accepting default settings. You can be much fancier than I am here. I'm just trying to give a sort of minimal example. And now we're getting into the FPDF code portion. Here we always have to have the add page, very important. If you're wondering why you didn't generate output, or you have a blank output, it's often as simple as you've left out the add page method. So yeah, I also should mention I used letter format instead of the landscape. So, and here I'm just again, the great thing about pdf.cell is I can, if I'm a little unsure about the arguments, which I often am, I can look it up as I'm going along in Google Colab. So yeah, and the second to last one, the 2 means I'm returning to the next line. 1 means I'm returning to the same position on the line below, and 0 means I'm continuing on the same line. It's not an end of line. So just important to sort of point that out. Yeah, and oftentimes with FPDF, it's, can be a bit difficult. You have to use some trial and error sometimes to get it right. But if you're looking at making something that's automated in the end, it can be, getting that trial and error down of where you want the dot cell length to be, the position you want it in, whether you want to go to the line below or to the next part. It can be a question of trial and error. Obviously, I tried out large portions of this code, and I've used this library a lot, so it is quite intuitive to me. But it can be a bit intimidating at first. Again, I think just, trying it out and seeing what works for you or your data may be the way to go. So yeah, I typically try and do something where I can just use a for loop, like I've looped through the column names here. I created a list of column names and looped through them. And I'm going to do the same with the actual data. And I'm making use of the length function for the data set here, so I go from 0 to the end of the to the length of the data frame. Sorry. And then I'm just going to access the that data frame column at the particular point through that loop, and we'll end up with a nice little table. And since it's sort of it's only a 2-column table, as I think most pie charts would be, you'd probably be using a radial chart if you had more. Yes, it's fairly straightforward to use that for loop. So yeah, I'm also using a round function in here. And again, important to note when I'm going to the new line with the second to last argument in the .cell method. So I also do use the .cell method just to create a line break before the next line every now and again, because I'm going to insert the table. So as you can see from the code, I've put the table in there, and then I've got 2 line breaks here, and 1 line break here, and then on the next line I'm going to prep it for the position I want to insert my image, which is the .png file we created using Matplotlib. So yeah, here we're making sure we get the right name, and I'm writing out these arguments, which I don't think you have to do that. Yeah, yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to write out all these arguments. I'm doing it because I haven't tested it without doing that, but I think all but one of them are the default, so you probably don't have to write them out like that. So yeah, and now we're finalizing it, and let's see if we have any problems. Oh, I do. Yeah, I spelled image wrong, so I'll fix that and run again. And now, yeah, we have something generated. Let's see how the .pdf file looks. And yeah, excellent. Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted it to look like from the outset. So yeah, that's about it. So what did we do? We used the scikit-learn library. We used so just summarizing again what we did. We used the scikit-learn library to get the toy data set, and then we went into using Matplotlib and FPDF libraries to generate that nice little output with the pie chart and the accompanying table. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial. All the code used in this video is in the link in the description below. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments section. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That'd be great. Thanks very much, and see you in the next video.